My bias when I go into something, I'm trying to figure something out, is always to just think about, okay, like what evidence exists and what evidence can be created that will suggest a path. And so for me, I had not come close to replacing what my income was from my prior job. I was making a lot of money. But what I had done was that I knew that like in a few hours of time on the weekends and doing my writing and some of the little consulting things I'd done, the trend line of that, I was like, can I see a way where spending more time on this thing and putting more energy into it, the trend line takes me past my main path? And the answer was clearly yes. I think that's the key, is like with any of these different paths that you're evaluating, what does your actual evidence base look like to prove that you can go and build a life around that thing,
Welcome to Authority Makers. I'm your host, Nico Torres Santana. Today's guest is Sahil Bloom, an investor, entrepreneur, and educator on a mission to simplify the complex and empower others to build meaningful wealth and wisdom. A former professional baseball player turned financial expert, Sahil is a managing partner at SRB Ventures, where he backs world-class founders shaping the future. Known for his viral threads and insights on social media, Sahil shares invaluable lessons on personal growth, finance, and building leverage in life. Let's dive into the mind of a true modern polymath.
So lovely to meet you, man. You're
Nice meeting you.
yeah, your workshop at in Chris's cohort was just incredible, man. It was like really good, really inspiring. Yeah, so thank you for that. Yeah.
Absolutely, man. I'm happy to hear it. Where are you based, Nico?
So I live in Tampa, Florida. My wife and I, we just had our fourth kid, believe it or not.
Oh man, congratulations. What is just? How recently?
Literally last week, like Thursday.
Oh man. Oh really? Okay, you're really in it, man. That's
Yeah.
crazy. And how old are the four?
So my son is 6, oldest. We have twin girls, pandemic babies. They're born March 2020. And then obviously he was just born on Thursday. So the girls are 4, and yeah, newborn, man. It's crazy.
And are you tapping out at 4, or is like 5 in the cards? Like, what was the plan?
No, honestly, I felt bad for my son because it's like he's outnumbered with the 2 girls.
Yeah, yeah.
So we're like, let's aim for one more and see and hope for the best. And we got a boy. So that's kind of
Man, there we go.
wearing, you know?
Perfect. So now he's got a little brother. That's awesome.
Yeah, dude. It's incredible, man. So yeah, it's cool because, seeing someone like you talk about your journey in fatherhood and still perform in a way where it's like, all right, man, like I resonate with this guy. I understand
Yeah.
that he's a high performer, but he's also about fatherhood. Can you kind of just walk me through a little bit about that balance? Because I feel like that's the area that I'm struggling with the most, is like
Yeah.
how to be a high performer and still be a present father.
Yeah. This is I write about this a lot. There's a whole chapter on this in the book because I think it's um a very common struggle. And the reason I think it's such a common struggle is because um there's this whole like language that people use around balance, and like the idea that I talk about this, like there is a 10-year window when you are your child's favorite person in the world. You're in that with all 4 of your children. They're highly impressionable. They're looking to you. They're learning from you. You're their best friend in the world. And it also happens to be that during that 10-year window is when you're chasing the most things, like ambitious people during their professional years. And so that tension is the important thing to navigate. The tension between wanting to be present and be there and provide that energy, and wanting to pursue these things that you're excited about. And so the way that I navigate it personally, how I think about it, is it's very important for you to be present with your energy during the moments you have with your kids. That does not mean you need to spend every single second with them, because one of the most important things that you can teach them is the importance of pursuing things that light you up energetically and working hard on things that light you up, and the value of that, and what you derive from that as a person and as a mentality, as a core value of a family. And that is only done through them seeing you and understanding why you are working on the things you're working on and why you're pushing hard on them. And so the way that I contextualize it is it's the importance of including them in that why. Because kids, if you don't explain to them the why, they fill it with the worst version. They fill it with, dad doesn't want to be there. Dad's always gone. Dad's always traveling. Dad's always doing other things. Doesn't want to be there for me. When in reality, your entire why if just knowing you for a short period is to provide. It's to be that, like, it's to provide for the family, to be the breadwinner, to be the person that takes care of your wife, takes care of your kids. And for them to know that, for them to know that you are doing that and that you're working on things that light you up because you believe that you can create an impact, that you're doing things that matter, that's really important. And that's a lesson that they're going to carry with them into adulthood and into their own life, whether or not you realize it in the moment. And so what I do is I really try to separate those two spheres where I think when I'm with them, I am like fully there. And I really strive to try to do that. My energy is fully present. And when I'm not, when I'm working, I want to be fully present in that. And I want them to know why I'm doing it. So, like, that season of unbalance in order to have the seasons of balance is important. Like right now, I am in a season of unbalance. I'm traveling every single week between now and my book launch because everything is about this big goal that I have, this big dream. And making sure he understands that is important.
That's amazing, man. Dynamics with your partner obviously are huge and key. So how do you strike that balance with them? It's like you want to have all these things as well, right? And I feel like as a driven guy, sometimes that can kind of get in the way of nurturing that relationship. I mean, at least for me, speaking for myself only, right?
Yeah.
How do you find that
No,
balance?
I think that's right. For me, it's this recognition that time and energy are not the same thing.
Okay.
And romantic partners in particular, but anyone, any relationship, they react to energy, not time. So, uh, you spending an hour with your partner, your wife, and you're sitting there on your phone trying to do work, send emails, do social media, whatever the things are, she's not going to experience that as any form of energy that you gave her.
Right.
The flip side, if you were there for 10 minutes and you were like truly locked in on her and understanding her day and, listening, hearing, like truly being there, disappearing into the presence, that can be days and days, that is carried there. And so that is how I try to think about it is like, I don't, you might have seasons where your time is very limited because you are chasing these things. But during those moments when you're there, the energy has to be so concentrated and pronounced, and it has to, you literally, you have to disappear into yourself in those moments. And That's how I've always thought about it.
I love that, man. You're 33?
33, yeah.
Okay. I just turned, well, it just turned, I'm 33 as well. And I feel like we're kind of worlds apart.
You got three more kids than me.
Dude, it's crazy. But at the same time, I spent the first 10 years of my career pursuing something that was atypical, which was a career in music and creativity,
Okay.
which eventually led me to a path in like podcast production. But I kept a corporate job just for the sake of stability. So 9 to 5, got an MBA in marketing, night school. And last year I quit my corporate job to like go all in on like this thing with a business partner. It didn't result in the way that I wanted it to. And about 3 months ago, I've been kind of navigating the ropes, seeing what's next. And the thing that resonated with me most about what you said in the workshop was how much your wife believed in you in the midst of, kind of quitting your own corporate career, so to speak. So I guess my question to you with that context is, how did you gain that clarity during that time? Because I feel like I'm flipping back and forth. I'm like applying a job still. I'm trying to figure out, do I keep going on this entrepreneurial thing? I have some clients, but my personal brand isn't where it needs to be personally. So still growing that. Like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah. What did you do? I guess.
I'm I'm not big on like trusting my gut or my instinct. Everyone always says like, oh, trust your gut, trust your instincts, so you follow your gut. I don't really know what that means. I tend to just trust in evidence. And my bias when I go into something, I'm trying to figure something out, is always to just think about, okay, like what evidence exists and what evidence can be created that will suggest a path. And most people think of evidence as this like big, you need to replace your income from your prior thing, or you need to, make the 100K, you need to get to the level where you want it to be. That's not really right. What you really need is you need enough evidence to suggest that that future is possible, that like the trend line, not the position. So when people think of evidence, they think all about the position that it gets you in. So like, oh, I generated enough evidence that the position is good enough. That doesn't really matter. What matters is if you look at the trend line of where you currently are, will that lead me to the place that I want to end up? And so for me, tactically, what that meant was I had not come close to replacing what my income was from my prior job. I was making a lot of money. And but what I had done was that I knew that like in a few hours of time on the weekends and doing my writing and some of the little consulting things I'd done, I had made like, 10-20% of the income. And the trend line of that, of being able to bring people in and of the growth of things, I was like, can I see a way where spending more time on this thing and putting more energy into it, the trend line takes me past and like past where this other thing is, my main path? And the answer was clearly yes at some point. That there was enough evidence to suggest that the trend line was going to take me there. And I trusted in that. So when I think about it, like in your context, I think that's the key is like with any of these different paths that you're evaluating, what does your actual evidence base look like to prove that you can go and build a life around that thing?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, I've noticed some of those trends as well, and I was like 60-70% of the way there and replacing my corporate career as far as the salary was concerned when I did quit. But moving on to kind of a separate question here, it seems like you've mastered the art of converting followers into customers, right? I mean, you did it so seamlessly in the workshop. I was like, yeah, I'm going to buy like ten of those copies, right?
Mm.
Um, for someone like, me, I feel like I'm kind of restarting out. What do you, how do you recommend crafting that narrative, that story, that content that converts, or do you just give, and not really ask until, there's enough goodwill, so to speak, built up?
Yeah, I've always liked the Gary V jab jab punch thing, like
Yeah.
his original kind of context around that. I mean, I think about my own journey. Like I didn't sell any. I honestly I haven't sold anything until this book. And uh, that's several years. That's not necessarily the path I would recommend people take. I think I probably should have done things earlier, but I was always like, I didn't. I did one like course at one point in 2021 with a friend, but I never was like truly leaning into selling things. It was more to me that I fundamentally believe in this idea that if you create value, you'll receive value.
Yeah.
And uh, I think for 3 years, the value I was receiving was in the trust and attention of other people. And there's plenty of ways to monetize trust and attention. And a book is one of them, but it's not really a monetization. Frankly, the book is a jumping off point into anything else that I can go build businesses in the future. So
Right.
I am I'm very excited about that idea that like
Mhm.
you can share, you can create value for people. If you were creating value for them, they're going to have trust in you, and you can then sell them anything if they have trust in you.
Yeah, it seems like with the kind of like hyper saturation of, personal brand experts and everyone starting their own brand, but at the same time wanting to monetize it like right away, that
Yeah.
that is kind of the highest leverage way of really building that I don't know, long-term success. Would you agree or disagree?
Yeah, I think that's right. I think the the analogy or the meta, it's like if everyone is doing one thing, that's not where any upside exists anymore. And so everyone trying to create the same type of content, the same format, the same model, the same method for monetizing, like the tried and true thing on social media has always been build a big following, then sell a course on how to build a big following.
Right.
And like that's what Chris has done, right? Like it's
Right.
that model exists and that's known. And it works, but it only works for like a few people that are able to like really capitalize on it. And everyone else is sort of left, picking up the slim pickings. I think it's like the more interesting approach, and the thing that I think is more fun is to think about new and different ways to build and sell. And what is something that you can do over 20 years? It's not a fast cash grab because life is too long to do the fast cash grabs. And they run out, they dry up. Like all of the Instagram influencers who did brand deals, they can't get engagement anymore or whatever. Like there's no, it's a big challenge, race to the bottom. So I think it's much more interesting to just think about playing a different game in all of these areas of life. And it's why I've thought about monetizing the platform that I've built much more through these businesses that I've partnered with and created and the holding company. And like, that's what I'm much more excited about than selling things directly to my audience. So, the way I frame it is always like, you can't become the next Mr. Beast by doing what Mr. Beast did. You can't write the next bestseller by doing the exact same thing that the bestseller did. Like everyone points to James Clear's book launch as like a whenever I say I'm launching a book, they're like, "Oh, did you study what James Clear did?" And I was like, "Yes, but that's priced in now. Like the thing that worked and then was public is priced in. Everyone does it, so it no longer works. It's no longer the upside. You have to do the different thing that's mispriced during any point in time."
Now, a quick plug here. Sahil is releasing his brand new book called The 5 Types of Wealth. It's a transformative guide to redefining what it means to live a truly wealthy life. For the past 3 years, Sahil has quietly crafted this game-changing book, and now he's sharing it with the world. The 5 Types of Wealth challenges you to reject the default path and design a life of true abundance, one that goes far beyond financial gains. In this groundbreaking framework, Sahil reveals the 5 pillars of wealth. Time wealth, where you master control over how you spend your time. Social wealth, cultivating deeper, more meaningful connections. Mental wealth, finding clarity and purpose, presence, and growth. Physical wealth, enhancing your health and vitality. And financial wealth, achieving the independence to live a life of enough. Through powerful stories, historical insights, and actionable strategies, Sahil equips you with the right questions and tools to create a life of lasting joy and fulfillment. Whether you're seeking clarity, balance, or a new perspective, this book offers a universal roadmap for anyone at any stage of life. Pre-orders are vital for the success of this book, so if you've ever found value in Sahil's writing, now is the time to show your support. More importantly, if you like this episode, go ahead and show him some support here. I'm going to go ahead and provide you with a link where you can purchase his book directly. And as one of the book's ambassadors, I'm going to go ahead and invite you to purchase a few copies to gift to friends and family in the link in the description below. Not only does it support Sahil's work, but it also supports the growth of this channel. Thanks so much, and let's get back to the interview.
Do you think there's, kind of just looking at, all right, your overall holding company, the opportunities that you have outside of, potentially monetizing your personal brand, where do you see, whether it's a solopreneur or someone starting out a business, the opportunities there from a product market fit to market trends? Like, where do you see the gaps in the marketplace, really, is my question.
I think that the gap is something you create. So it's like, what is your unique set of skills? The way I've always thought about this is like circles of success. So like, you have a few different circles of competency around different skills, different things that you are exceptional at. Within any one of those circles, there's a ton of competition. Tons of different people are good at that thing. So say it's design, tons of other good people are good at design. But when you start thinking about the overlap of your few circles, that pool of people that is competing with you becomes very narrow. And so the goal is, how do you create something that's at the overlap of your different circles of success? So if for me, my circles might be like storytelling. I think I'm a great storyteller. Another one might be like in-person connection, charisma. And then another one might be that I have like actual private equity deal background. The overlap of those three things starts to become fairly clear, which is like you build a holding company that actually like builds and acquires business assets that are storytelling forward, that involve in-person events, connection, like real people, trust. Within any one of those, there's plenty of people that'll kick my teeth in competitively, right? Like there's better storytellers, there's better deal makers, there's better, in-person charisma, whatever. But the overlap is pretty small. And so I would go through that exercise and just think about like, what are your core skills, core values, the things that, are really important to you and that you're very good at. And then think about like, okay, within the overlap of some of these different things, what might it be that you can build around?
Mm-hmm. I love that answer, man. It's very unique to the individual, which I totally respect. When you're looking at what your needs are through your holding company or through your personal brand, are you looking, where are the gaps for you where you're like, man, if only I had X, Y, Z here, like this would be a great opportunity for this type of person?
Yeah, my biggest bottleneck with anything I'm doing is always people. And the nature of that bottleneck is that I don't have any desire to have 20 or 40 like average employees just sort of like doing their job description and cashing a paycheck and asking for a small raise every year. I want like 8 just savages that like want to do above and beyond, and they want to earn, they want to earn according to the value that they're creating, and go and jump at things and run at stuff. And that those type of people are hard to find. And I'm, so I'm always looking, but I'm never, it's not a job description. I can't put out something being like, hey, looking for an absolute it's like, it's not a thing that you can recruit for. So when I meet these people and I spend time with them and I can see the skills and, we find alignment and values, that's how it ends up coming about. And I just find that those type of people create new opportunities. And if I can enable them, if I can help leverage, the things that I do well to help unlock them in different ways, and I can be a part of it, I don't really care. I'm not like, an economic animal in the sense that like I need to own 100% of everything I'm doing. I mean, of the different companies, I own anywhere from like 30 to 100% of different things. And the key for me is that I want it to be fun. And I want to work with people that I really respect and admire, and I want to go build some things that positively impact the world. So yeah, that's that. I mean, for me, like that's really how I think about it. It's much less idea and theme based and much more people based. We have, three kind of core things that we're working on coming into 2025 out of my main holding company, that I'm really excited about. But you know, how those turn, like how those turn into opportunities is going to be with people, and what makes them big is going to be with people. So.
That's awesome. Um, this is on a more personal note. So I don't really know a ton of your actual like ethnic background, but would you care to kind of just share a little bit about where your family heritage comes from, or your
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So my mom is from India. It's the name Sahil. My dad is a white Jewish guy from the Bronx. So that's the Bloom side of me. And yeah, so my background was mixed race, and then from a religious standpoint, we kind of had everything blended together. Like, we had some Jewish. I had a bar mitzvah, but like we don't practice anymore. We do like occasionally something just as a family. My mom is Hindu, but some Buddhist in her. We've got plenty of Muslim people in the family. We always celebrated Christmas growing up. My mom grew up going to Jesuit Catholic schools in India. Uh, yes, we're a little bit of an amalgamation of everything.
Well, the reason why I ask, it's kind of a curious question, but like the reason why I ask is so I'm Colombian. I was born in Colombia, raised in South Florida. My wife is from Kerala, India. She
Oh,
was born
cool.
in Kerala. And so we have, three half Indian kids,
I
right?
love it.
And so I saw your name. And I'm like, dude, this guy, I don't want to presume, but I got to
I
ask.
love it.
So,
Yeah.
so as I'm raising, four half Indian kids, one of the things that I struggled with as an immigrant was that cultural identity, right? Like, where do I belong? Because I was half here, half in Colombia. When I was in Colombia, I was too American to be Colombian. When I was here, I was too, Latino to be like fully embraced by the culture I grew up in, specific to like the Palm Beach area, which is, very
Mm.
unique culture to begin with. For you, like, what was that journey of like growing up in these two different races? I mean, two different religions. Like, how would you inculcate a sense of identity for someone like
Yeah.
yourself being in your shoes now?
Yeah, I struggled with it quite a bit actually as a kid. I don't know that it was necessarily quite as much around race as it was around when you're a kid, you're just looking for how you fit in. And I always I wasn't ever sure if I was the smart, like nerdy kid, or if I was the athletic jockey kid. And I started telling myself different stories about who I was that bred some level of insecurity in different ways. I think I like played a role sometimes rather than just being who I was because I wanted to fit in. Um, so it's tough. I think that some of it is your kids need to have their own journey and the struggles and the ups and downs that come with that. Um, I do think, just to be totally honest, that like we live today in a time that is much more embracing of uniqueness and differences than even 20 years ago when I was a kid. I just think there's a lot that has changed, and I think that that's a it's a big positive. and I think your kids will benefit from that in a big way. But the one thing that I plan to tell my son, which take it for what it's worth, is like when you're young, uh, going to school, you like fear your differences and you're like, you want to just fit in. And as you get older, you realize that those differences are actually your edge.
Yeah.
That's what makes you unique. That's what makes you beautiful. And I don't think my parents did a great job of instilling that in me. I don't think they
Mhm.
realized that I felt different. And so they had no reason to vocalize it to me. But that's important is like those things that make you different are actually what make you beautiful. And they are going to be your unique edge that you're looking to build upon in the real world.
Man, I love that.
Yeah.
Honestly, man, you answered all my questions so succinctly. It's almost as if like you had every every answer prepared for, dude.
Yeah.
I went through my list of 4 top questions, and I'm like, I gotta ask him some more. So, dude, that's it, man. I appreciate you for your time. I'm looking forward to the book, really,
Yeah,
and
thank you, man. I really appreciate the support.
yeah, being an ambassador. I want to ask your permission first before I post this online. Are you okay if I take some snippets of this
Yeah, yeah, of course.
recording and then share it so that I can share the book
Yeah,
and all that good stuff?
yeah, of course. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And just send it to me or whatever. I'm happy to, or tag me in it or whatever, and I'm happy to engage with it too.
Okay. Okay. Good deal, man. Yeah, anything
Thank
else
you, man.
that you think you'd want people to know or just learn from you during this time of promoting the book and
No, the big goal is I just want people to ask these questions about their lives. And the whole book is really framed around questions. And you come to your own answers by wrestling with the right questions. And that's what the book aims to do is to help you do that. So I'm just really excited to have it out in the world, have more people engage with it, and hopefully make, tiny positive changes in their life that create this compound lasting effect.
yeah, awesome, man. Well, definitely looking forward to the book, and I look
Yeah.
forward to a future where hopefully we can reconnect sometime.
Yeah, I would
Would
love
love
to.
to.
You're down in Miami?
Tampa. Yeah.
Tampa. Okay, got it. Okay. We're doing a book launch event in Miami in February, but I'll see about Tampa.
Yeah, well, we have family in
Awesome.
Miami, so if it makes sense, we'll make it out there. So,
Cool. Awesome, man. Well, it's great seeing you. Nice meeting, and look forward to
likewise.
chatting again soon.
All right, brother. Take care, man.